Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's version of Nickels and Dimes, our weekly video series. The quote of the week this week comes from Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, who said, "Between stimulus and response is space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." In that, it's really a great quote because, it actually reminds me of another quote that, I often talk to my kids about. In life, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. So the reason I'm bringing this up this week is recently Congress agreed upon a stimulus package, and for many Americans, it's much needed. The agreement was around $900 billion. I think somewhere around $2 trillion is what the Democrats wanted, and around $500 billion is what the Republicans wanted. So they kind of met around the middle at around $900 billion. So I wanted to discuss today, again, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. So the question to you is, what are you doing as a result of the stimulus package? And what I mean in particular is there's going to be billions of dollars influxed into the financial system. Again, around $900 billion as what's Congress recently approved. So what tends to happen, at least based on history, is there are certain asset classes that tend to react favorably. So for example, March 23rd, we saw the market bottom. The Fed came, or our government officials came out with stimulus. You saw the equity markets shoot up over the last 6+ months, okay, 6, 7, 8 months. So that's been a tremendous response. Again, historically, the equity market stocks respond positively to stimulus. Will that happen again? We don't know, but there's a very good chance, again, based on history, that will happen. So again, the question is, what are you doing to positively respond, meaning to adjust your portfolio to account for the billions and billions of dollars that will be influxed in the financial system? So that's a question that is critical. So is your portfolio positioned to benefit from new stimulus? So again, recently, since March, you saw the equity market shoot higher. The markets like stimulus. Historically, that's been the case. So is your portfolio positioned, again, to take advantage of this? There are other asset classes that tend to appreciate when, for example, the dollar is depreciating. Again, the more stimulus that gets injected into the financial system, the lower the value of the U.S. dollar tends to go. Again, it's simply supply and demand. The more dollars that are in print, again, literally electronically printed, the lower the valuation of that currency. And in this example, it's the US dollars. In fact, did you know that this year alone, this is a crazy statistic, 20% of all the US dollars in circulation were printed this year, printed in 2020. So all of the US dollars that were printed in circulation in the history of the US dollar were actually printed this year. And again, much because of much needed stimulus. So speaking of the stimulus, again, what are we going to do with the $900 billion? Again, they're talking about $600 direct deposits to individuals. You may recall earlier this year it was $1,200. Another $300 boost in federal unemployment. There's PPP loans for small businesses, around $284 billion. There's $20 billion in small business grants. There's $15 billion for live events. Folks that are in the event business have really been struggling, obviously, because there's no events and so forth. So there's a number of different, $82 billion for schools and colleges, $25 billion for rental assistance. So again, there's a lot of money that's going to be influxed in the financial system to help Americans, and many of them struggling. So the question is, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. So how are you repositioning your portfolio to participate in what likely will be upside potential in certain asset classes? Again, we talked about stocks have generally performed well when there's stimulus. You see gold, for example, and alternative asset classes like that. Again, when the dollar gets devalued, other asset classes like gold tend to appreciate. Is your portfolio positioned for that? Again, that's a question I'd ask. If you don't know, we're happy to give you a second opinion. So you can send me an email to that end. see Nichols at nicholswealth.com, or you can go on our website at nicholswealth.com to learn more about what we do, and again, to get a second opinion on if your portfolio is positioned to take advantage of this recent stimulus. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.